for this mission. Just go to the link we'll pull up on your screen. As a virtual guest, you will get
but I don't use the word excited because I'm focused. You know, what we do, this is very serious and it's very risky, and we are all intimately familiar with that risk. And so if we go out there and we're successful and we can pass that baton on to Artemis 3, that's something to really be excited about.
Great to hear from Reed and Victor in their own words about how they feel about this mission and their role in it. As the convoy turns this corner here onto the road where the vehicle assembly building is, and where the group that we showed you earlier today, ready with their flags. Wow, that group.
Never have before, or for the 7th time we start a new vehicle and a new mission.
Just getting word now that White Room closeouts are complete, and so the closeout crew is preparing to leave the pad.
It's exciting stuff. We are making good time, and the closeout crew is doing really well.
41 minutes, 43 seconds and counting until the opening of our window. And Artemis 2 is a 10-day mission that will send the 4-person crew on a journey around the moon and back to Earth. It will be a critical step towards future lunar and Mars missions.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars. We need to go explore the moon. There's vast regions of unexplored areas with the coldest, darkest places in our solar system. This is a test mission, and when we get off the planet, we might come right back home. We might spend 3 or 4 days around Earth. We might go to the moon. That's where we want to go, but it is a test mission, and we are ready for every scenario as we ride this amazing space launch system and the Orion spacecraft.
But another reason we're going back to the moon is to fulfill NASA's mission, which is to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And when we succeed and when we accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish, that inspiration not only can set up new things to happen, but it also is a reminder in tough times that we're capable of doing great things when we work together.
The thing I love about the moon is that it's not just a beacon for exploration and this platform of possibilities for incredible missions like this, but it has benefits. That's actually why we're racing towards it. Those benefits are really wide in nature. You have everything from innovation, technology development, not only for future missions going deeper into the solar system, but technologies that come back to Earth. You have inspiration, a whole generation of people starting this pipeline of STEM workers and manufacturers and operators that are excited to see what you can do when you work hard and you come together as a team.
When I think about the 4 of us flying around the far side of the moon, seeing that Earth rise, taking images and video and sending them back to you, the feeling that I have inside is hope. We know that Artemis 2 is not the solution for humanity on planet Earth, but it is a contribution in the positive column. We hope that just for a moment that people will pause and say, wow, it's extraordinary when you look back upon the Earth with over 8 billion people. And you see this concrete example of what humanity can do, this extraordinary thing when we set big goals
and CDR entity
to achieve.
And so Mission Control Houston will control the flight of Orion after a liftoff here at Kennedy Space Center. Here's Gary Jordan, who's embedded with that team. Gary, you might have to pause because we did just hear a call out to the commander in Orion.
Will do, Megan. I think that was Commander Reed Wiseman responding to prepare for some of the next steps. We are now holding at the T-minus 10-minute hold, expected a 30-minute hold. So we are well on the countdown. We are well on the timeline to meet this L-minus time and launch towards the beginning of the window, but continuing to track progress along the way. Again, I'm here with the Artemis 2 flight control teams in Mission Control Houston. The team in the room behind me has been monitoring the countdown and verifying their own mission-specific launch criteria of the Space Launch System, the Orion spacecraft integrity, and its crew. During the final poll before launch, if all looks good, From each of the flight controllers in this room, Flight Director Judd Freeling will report a go for launch from Houston Flight. Upon liftoff, teams here take control of the mission and communicate with the crew while they fly on the Space Launch System. This phase of flight is highly dynamic, and each console position has a dedicated and important role of looking after critical systems. You'll hear calls from Capcom and NASA astronaut Stan Love in this room to the Artemis II crew as milestones are reached during the more than 8 minutes of powered flight on the core stage. Liftoff and ascent are just the beginning. This room will be staffed around the clock over the next 10 days to oversee every moment of the mission through splashdown. Here from the Johnson Space Center, we'll be streaming the mission live 24/7 so anyone can follow the crew's journey, take peeks inside the spacecraft, and share the experience of a lunar flyby with astronauts looking down at the moon's surface. Teams here have been rehearsing tirelessly in simulations to throw every conceivable and inconceivable scenario their way. We are ready and eager to begin the Artemis II mission. Still milestones to come as we continue the countdown, but we'll be right back with you during the ascent phase of today's flight. With that, Megan, I will send it back over to you at the Space Coast.
Thanks so much, Gary. Under 37 minutes until the opening of our 2-hour launch window, 6:24 p.m. Eastern. I've never been more excited for a time. But why don't we send it back over to Megan Carter with the Moon Board to learn more about what happens after ascent.
Absolutely. I am definitely also getting excited. Things feel like they're starting to pick up a little pace here. A lot is about to happen within the first 10 minutes of launch, but what happens after those first 10 minutes? Let me take you over here to my mission map so we can kind of jump ahead and let me explain a few things. So our main engine cutoff is going to stand for MECO, and that is essentially where the rocket's job is done, and it is then going to turn the propulsion duties over to our ICPS. That stands for Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage. Don't try and say that too many times fast, but the ICPS is going to be right here, and that's our in-space propulsion. About 50 minutes into, after about 50 minutes into launch, it is going to conduct that first burn, and that's going to be the perigee raise maneuver. Essentially what that is going to do is going to raise the spacecraft from a lowest point of Earth just a little bit higher into space, and then they are going to conduct that nice path that's going to set them on that nice circular path around the Earth. That's when they're going to start to be able to really check out the spacecraft. The Orion spacecraft is going to be able to, like we've talked about, be maneuvered by the crew. They're going to check out those life support systems, and communication checkout's going to be vital at that point as well, obviously. Then they will be conducting that another burn, and that's going to raise them just a little bit higher again. And then they will, it'll be about time for the ICPS to separate, and they will start another lap around the Earth as well. Now, the ICPS, but even after it separates, its job will not be done because they will have the opportunity to conduct something called the Proximity Operations Demonstration. And this is going to be really important for our future lunar missions because the ICPS actually has a target on it, and the crew is going to have the opportunity to manually maneuver these spacecraft, like we've mentioned, and practice those docking maneuvers. Now, obviously, they will not be docking for this mission, but that is, again, going to be critical for those lunar missions in the future. Now, all right, after that ICPS has separated and they've done that second lap, they're going to conduct 2 more burns. And what these burns are going to do is set them up to the high enough orbit and a fast enough speed in order to conduct the translunar injection. This is going to be that critical moment and that critical milestone where they are going to produce about 6,000 pounds of thrust. And this is that point that is going to take them out of low Earth orbit into deep space, and it's going to set them on that nice path towards that lunar flyby. And I know we have talked a little bit about why this could be a record-breaking flyby and journey to the moon. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Megan so she can tell us just why.
Yeah, she's talking about the distance record set by the Apollo 13 astronauts in 1970. They were 248,655 miles away from Earth, and this Artemis II crew might surpass that on flight day 6 when they fly around the moon by more than 4,000 miles.
Yeah, it's a long ways. It's tough to fathom 250,000 miles from Earth, right? I mean, space, the space station is only 250 miles. And so we're going, I don't want to do the public math, but we're going much further than that. But it's important, right? Because we want to get back to the moon. We want to see the surface. We want to see the far side of the moon. And the way we do that is by breaking distance records.
Yeah, and the exact distance record depends on exactly when they launched, like the time, the day. So we'll learn more as we go into this 10-day mission with the Artemis 2 crew. But here we are, 32 minutes, 50 seconds and counting from the opening of our launch window. Feels really, really surreal here as more and more people come to gather on the press site lawn here at Kennedy Space Center. Why don't we take a look at this video that we have here? Some familiar faces who wanted to wish our Artemis 2 crew a safe journey.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, you are the real deal. You're flying to the moon for all of us, and we are in awe. You're the true heroes.
You are not just astronauts. You are pioneers, venturing deeper into the unknown. But you are not alone. We will be all cheering you on from planet Earth.
Hey, I'm Victor Wembanyama, and I play basketball in the NBA. But I'm not only interested in shooting hoops. I'm also interested in shooting stars, dark matter, and all other types of astronomical phenomenon. And to the Artemis 2 astronauts who are shooting for the moon, I wish them good luck and Godspeed.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Gosling, and I play a biologist who goes to space to save the planet in the film Project Hail Mary. But the Artemis 2 astronauts are going to space for real, and they will travel farther from Earth than any humans in history. Sending all our best wishes to the Artemis 2 crew.
I just want to say how proud I am of each of you and how inspired you make me. But it's not just about me. Your mission is going to inspire future generations of scientists, engineers, athletes, and dreamers to do something that they never thought possible.
Hey, it's Roy Wood Jr., and I want to wish the Artemis 2 crew a happy and safe journey to the moon, well, around the moon. To go around, I know what you're doing. You got to look for a parking space. This is to go around the moon, make sure it's somewhere to park, and then you park journey. Good luck.
It's actually a really good way to explain what how this mission builds. Again, we are hoping to land astronauts on the surface of the moon in maybe 2 years. So yes, we are looking around the moon on this lunar flyby mission to see where we might park. Thank you, Roy Wood Jr. Okay, and as we look at this live view of the rocket on the pad, there is a spectacular place here at Kennedy Space Center to watch launch from, and that's the Banana Creek viewing area. Why don't we go back there where the crowd is excited, and Leah has the best assignment ever talking to people who are super excited about being here for Artemis 2.
Oh my gosh, Megan, you talk about the excitement being palpable. I'm telling you, everybody here on pins and needles as we get just about half an hour away from launch. I've been walking around talking to people, and I'm just struck again and again by how many people are here from across the agency. I want to introduce you to just a small portion of the people across NASA who have been supporting this mission.
Patty Ortiz, NASA Armstrong Flight Research Center, Orion Program.
Orion.
Kathy Graves, Glenn Research Center, Office of STEM Engagement.
David Alexander, NASA Glenn Research Center, Office of STEM Engagement.
Jennifer Becerra, Johnson Space Center, the Office of STEM Engagement.
Here we go, right back here. Where are you from?
I'm from NASA Glenn Research Center, Joseph Panakitis.
Joseph, here we go.
Wes Furman from APL.
Maria Arredondo from Headquarters, Next Gen Sun.
Mark Robinson, Stennis Space Center, Commercial Space.
Amira Flores, Armstrong, Office of the STEM Engagement.
Molly Kearns, NASA Glenn, Space Communications and Navigation.
Matthew Pierce, Goddard Institute for Space Studies in New York City.
Here we go, and right over here.
Lauren Ring, Ames Research Center, Data Integration.
So we're coming together. We're one big NASA team, one big NASA family, and we have one major message before we launch tonight. Okay, guys, what are we going to say? 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That made me so emotional. That was so inspiring to see. I mean, wow. Yeah, that was great. I mean, just to hear everybody say their position, what they're doing to support this mission is amazing. And I'm sure this was something that really rang true and resonated with NASA's Administrator Jared Isaacman, again, to see the workforce come together to do the work and then to be here for launch. So why don't we actually go over to him now with our Jasmine Hopkins at one of our other viewing locations.
All right, Megan, thank you so much. The energy here on the balcony is honestly becoming electric as we get so close to launch. And now we are thrilled to welcome NASA Administrator Center, Jared Isaacman. Jared, we're really entering a golden age of exploration. How will Artemis 2 set the pace for the coming years?
Well, I mean, Artemis 2 is the opening act, right? This is the test mission. This is getting very comfortable with the SLS rocket, the Orion spacecraft. No humans have ever flown on this before, right? And we're going to put it through its paces. We'll go into Earth orbit for a little bit, make sure Orion's doing okay, and then we are sending them, right? We're going to send them farther into space than any humans might have gone before, 250,000 miles away, and it's going to set up for the subsequent missions. That's why we're going into the golden age of science and discovery right now, because you're going to see a moon rocket launch in 2027 when we do our testing with the lander. We're going to go for the landing on Artemis 4 in 2028, and in parallel, we're going to build the moon base, right? And that is going to be filled with science discovery and tech demonstrations that's going to support the enduring presence we're trying to create on the surface.
Absolutely. So honestly, history-making years ahead of us, with Artemis 3 and 4. But first is Artemis 2. What will be our single greatest takeaway from this mission?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after ignition, to me, the moment that I'm going to be most excited for is splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast. But look, I think the takeaway from this is gaining extreme comfort in the Orion spacecraft, right? I mean, this is very different than what we've done for more than a half century, right? I mean, the velocities that spacecraft is going to re-enter at, it's going to be new territory for us. We want to get our arms around that completely. So I would say the performance of SLS plus Orion is everything on this one. We want to make sure we do it in as a safe way as we possibly can, understanding what we are undertaking right here, bring our crew back, learn as much we can from the vehicle, set up for Artemis 3 in 2027.
Right. And Administrator, we've actually had a pretty young audience today here, some kids running around the balcony. How do you hope Artemis 2 inspires that next generation?
I talk about this all the time. Like, one of our overarching KPIs that we should always be tracking is the number of people living and working in space. Well, what's another strong number 2 on that one? It's the number of kids that are dressing up as astronauts for Halloween, so that they grow up, that they're inspired to want to join in this grand endeavor, whether they come work with us here at NASA or they join in industry, but they're helping humankind venture out farther, pursue all the secrets of the universe.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of kids dressed as astronauts this year. And finally, Jared, you've really made it a personal mission to get to know the people behind the work at NASA. Do you have any final thoughts, any final words before today's history-making launch?
Yeah, well, one, I want to express a lot of appreciation. I'll tell you what, the 4 astronauts on top of Artemis 2 know this. It takes an army to pull a mission together like this, right? Across all 10 of our centers, all of our commercial partners, the international partners that come together to make this possible. My sincere appreciation for everyone who is currently working the mission right now. So getting them ready for launch, that will be watching over them in mission control, recovering this crew when they splash down off the West Coast. I have complete trust and confidence in your abilities. And everybody else who's not directly working on Artemis 2, Artemis 3 is coming up next year. When this mobile launcher gets back in the VAB, we're going to start stacking.
Wow, plenty of excitement ahead of us. Jared Isaacman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Of course. All right. And with that, let's get back to the countdown with NASA's Megan Cruz.
Under 25 minutes and counting from the opening of our 2-hour launch window, and take a look at all these people behind us. I literally, every moment I turn around and I see the clock, I am like, oh, wow. Oh, wow.
There are more people and less time.
Yes, exactly, which is a great problem to have.
Yes.
Now, this first crewed test flight of NASA's Artemis program coincides with the 250th anniversary of our country's founders signing the Declaration of Independence. Exploration is a part of America's DNA, and it continues now with our return to the moon.
250 years ago, 13 colonies laid the foundation for the greatest and most enduring democracy in the history of the world. One driven by courage, faith, and freedom. From that moment, we became a nation defined not by where we stood, but by how far we were willing to go. We conquered vast frontiers, invented tools that shaped a modern world. We found light in the dark, and we rose from the earth. Faster, higher, farther. We pushed beyond the sky and into the unknown. We carried our courage into the cosmos, and we planted the American flag on the moon, the defining achievement of American superiority in space. Today, our curiosity stretches farther than ever. American robots search ancient rivers on Mars. New telescopes unfold to glimpse the first stars. And a new generation prepares to return to the moon, this time to stay. For 250 years, America has carried the light of humanity forward. But American exceptionalism isn't inherited, it's earned. Our greatness comes not only from what we've done, but what we're still determined to discover. Because in every era, across every horizon, America is at its best when it's reaching for something greater. America celebrates 250 years, and we are leading the world into the future.
"22 minutes, 15 seconds and counting from Artemis 2, NASA's boldest test flight in a generation. The crew has said this often, that they hope it inspires children around the world. And recently, a group of kids here at Kennedy Space Center got a surprise of a lifetime while watching that rocket roll to the launch pad.
So tell me what color it is. And you're going to be on that rocket. We're going to be on that rocket.
I could make it a little bit longer. Did you see it? Okay, so everybody's looking at the rocket because it is kind of cool and impressive. One of the coolest things happening over there right now, though, is it's on top of a giant tractor.
Doesn't all food come in like tubes? It's in these like little plastic bags. You have to like rehydrate it. There's not, I haven't seen sushi in space. It's probably hard to keep that back.
Corrupted sushi mashed together.
My favorite part was this one little girl, she had a question. She patiently held her hand for a long time, and Christina turns to her and says, "Okay, what's your question?" She just goes, "I forgot." It was like, that's a perfect little kid moment.
Wait, are you my mother's cats too, astronauts?
Say that again?
Never mind. It's really hard to say. Go Artemis!
These two? Yeah. Put it on. Yeah.
There you go. I like your dabbing astronaut back there. It's just so fun to see the enthusiasm, the energy, and a little bit of chaos.
3, 2, 1.
Wasn't that so cute?
I love kids and their excitement and, you know, even just being real. Like, I don't remember what I was
know.
gonna
He
ask.
goes, but I'm glad you're here. Now, here we are, Space Center Houston. The crowd has exponentially grown throughout the day. We started showing you live shots from in there probably an hour ago. And now take a look at all the people there getting ready to witness history together. It's something really special to be able to witness something like this together.
Yeah, you know, we've heard from celebrities and officials and kids, and, you know, it's amazing. People from all around the world came here today to Florida to watch. So it's something, it's hard to put into words, just how much support for this mission we're seeing today.
And great news too. Remember, the team was tracking an issue with the launch abort system battery. They appear to have cleared that issue. So we are go for launch.
Yes, it's exciting.
U.S. Space and Rocket Center here, Huntsville, Alabama, waving to the Artemis 2 crew sitting right there inside Orion. Inside of 20 minutes from the opening of our launch window, and right now we are targeting the top of that launch window. So we could be launching here in about 19 minutes, Nicole.
Wow, I don't know if I expected this today. I'm excited, and, you know, I'm glad they were able to clear the problem with the battery on the LAS, and everything has gone really smoothly today. It's been great. The weather cleared up. It's a beautiful day for a launch.
And so now, as we are so close to possibly launch now, just what are your final thoughts as we are about to embark on a mission back to the moon, the first time in more than 50 years?
Yeah, you know, just so proud of the crew and all of the teams here on the ground that made this happen. You know, they are carrying the torch from the Apollo era into the Artemis era. And, you know, it's the crew likes to say they want to be the shoulders that the next generation
And let's see, GLS, can you help us with that, please?
They want to be the crew wants to be the shoulders that the next generation can
GLS,
climb on.
001.
I think it's in their patch. We're going for all. It's in the name of their capsule, integrity, representing humility and the professionalism of everyone that got them there today. So proud of them. We love them. We're excited for them. And we cannot wait to see what they see.
Just leveraging everything we've learned so far as an agency, taking us from Apollo now to the launch pad here, 39B, with Orion and SLS poised to again fly us into the history books. And before we leave you now here at the host desk to get back into operations, we just wanted to answer one question for you guys. We asked you earlier on today, what are you most excited for? And we asked you to go vote on Instagram and Twitch. Instagram, you guys said launch. Twitch, you guys said lunar flyby. So I think you guys will all be very excited since we are now about 17 minutes from the opening of our launch window today. And so with that, as we approach terminal count, let's send it back to Daryl Nail in firing room 1. Daryl.
All right, thank you, Megan and Nicole. And just want to give you an update on the launch abort system that you just reported that they cleared. They believe, they're convinced this is an instrumentation failure. So there are 2 batteries on the LAS. The LAS, of course, and with the help of my 2-year-old son's model rocket, Daniel said I could use this, so it's okay. The LAS is right here. It's the tower above Orion. Orion capsule's inside of here. It's used to pull Orion off the rocket in case the rocket is something's going on with the rocket, either on the pad or in flight. 2 batteries are bad. Well, I'm sorry, one of the 2 batteries reported an out-of-family temperature, and it was very much out of family. And so they checked their data going back into the vehicle assembly building where they recharged the batteries and worked on them. And they have good, solid data, they reported, that tells them that this is an instrumentation failure, that there's something wrong with the sensor. And so they took it before the mission management team, which has to accept the risk, any changes to launch commit criteria, which this would be one, and they all fully accepted it. So now we are clear as far as that constraint is concerned. And one quick thing as we count down now, we are getting into the final minutes before liftoff. There's a 2-hour window. We haven't quite set the T0 yet, but this is a list of the cutouts. There are 150 cutouts that are included for this 2-hour launch window. And that's important. They're in very small print. That's important because there's basically 16 minutes inside this window that they cannot launch. And these are because of small things flying in orbit. There's a lot more things in orbit than there were back in Artemis 1 when we had 35 to 40 cutouts. For that reason, because of these 156 cutouts, they're going to be managing the launch window as we go forward. So they may have to wait out one of these cutouts. They range in time between 2 seconds to 23 seconds, but you'll hear the NASA test director talk through that. We're getting ready to merge that loop from NASA test director Jeff Spaulding. And so now I'm listening to the launch team get ready to merge their operational channel. We're now entering one of the most consequential phases of launch day, and that's terminal count, the final 10 minutes.
And OTC, NTD on 212 for comm check.
Good comm. How me?
I hear the same. STC? GTC?
GTC is on 212.
All right, copy that.
NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding confirming communications with his team. There will be 2 polls that we'll hear. One from Spaulding the NASA test director, confirming the ground systems and the launch team are ready to proceed. At this point, we have a clear board, no constraints, but we need confirmation from each individual on the NASA test director team. So we'll hear him poll his team. The other poll that we're waiting for is the poll from Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson, who will take that final status from NASA management before giving the go to come out of a hold. And you're seeing the clock count down at L-12 minutes.
CCL, OTC, or NRS1.
CCL.
Yes, sir. Reconfigure ARS primary loop ISRS1.
Go.
ARS loop ISO valves are being closed at this time.
Integrity copies.
NGDLP.
Go.
Yes, I had a discussion with Sea Ice and with MER Manager regarding the observation the Sea Ice had a few minutes ago. They were able to confirm with BCI photos that the condition that they observed has been there since 2025. MER Manager has had a chance to review the findings, and they do not have any constraints from either a Sea Ice or MER Manager perspective.
Okay. Copy all. And Launch Director NTD, you copy?
Yes, sir. I copy. That's good news.
OTC, CCL 212.
OTC.
ARS primary loop isolation valve configuration is complete.
Copy.
And CGLS NTD, cancel pending, please.
GLS copies, and that's complete.
All right, and for all personnel, we got a little bit more work to do before we pick up the clock, and we're about a little over a minute from getting to T-minus 10 minutes, but we've canceled the resume time there, and then we'll pick it up after we get through all of our work and anything else that we need to do to get through the remainder of count. So we'll continue working that to get to our T0 today. So when we get to about 50 seconds from now, we'll extend that hold.
CVSE OTC.
CVSE.
400-290, looking to verify that we are configured for ascent.
Yep, give me about 2 more minutes. I'm going to start CMA2 streaming.
Copy.
NTD, COSE, hold requested.
Copy that.
I have an LCC violation of O-CT-004, S-band transponder anomaly. This was a transient LCC violation, so transponder 1 had a demodulated SNR estimate that went down to 2 dBm when it should have been between 10 and 13. It is now back up to 12, but we did lose that for just a moment. It does not appear that we lost our bit sync or carrier lock, which would be indicative that we lost our lock with the vehicle. So at this point, recommendation would still be go. However, we do have a pre-planned contingency procedure if we want to look at that. But again, this is transient, so we're back in a nominal range.
All right, let's see, LPE NTD.
Yeah, we're not seeing that hit. So I guess the question for COSE, was that less than 3 samples? Was that below our persistence?
Stand by, let me look. It did look like it did persist for several seconds on mine, but let me take a look at the number of samples.
Could I get a repeat on the affected LCC, please?
Yes, ma'am. That's going to be O-CT-004.
Thank you.
Yeah, us taking a look at the data right here, looks like that was a single sample.
Yeah, copy that. RFTS does report that they also lost lock for about 5 seconds. So I would love to ask KUS and see if they also lost lock with the vehicle for any extended amount of period.
And COSE, while we're doing that, these are 1/10 hertz measurements, correct? So we would have had to lose it for over 10 seconds to get a second sample?
Yes, sir, that's correct. It is 1/10 hertz.
Yeah, so from our perspective, the allowance is effectively up to 30 seconds, up to 3 samples based on the 1/10 hertz. This is not an LCC violation, I believe.
Yes, sir, I would agree with that at this point. Copy that.
We're checking with KUS on 232. I don't think they have 212 access. We're trying to verify, but it sounds like they have a loss of lock as well. About 2 seconds.
Okay. And I guess for both KUS and COSE, do we have lock now?
That's affirmed. We do have lock for COSE.
Yeah, so from the integration console perspective, we did have a temporary loss there within the allowable, and per the requirement, let's go.
And this is Houston Flight. We have lock and we have good telemetry here in GSE.
And KUS is reported to they have good lock now. So with all of that, OSC, then are we in a go configuration per your LCC?
Yes, sir. Recommendation would be go.
Right. LP, you concur with that?
Yes, sir. LP concurs go.
And Launch Director?
Yes, sir. Launch Director concurs go.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and just verify everybody has everything else complete, Launch Director, and if we do, we'll be ready to pick up the poll at that time, unless there's something else that you're aware of.
No, sir. Let's verify all our work is complete, and I would like one last check of our constraints list.
All right, let's see. OTC, are you still waiting for COM config, or are you?
That is affirmed, sir.
Okay, yeah, you only open item?
Yeah, OTC, this is CVSC. That 400 step 290 is complete.
Copy. Okay, so OTC, you're complete with all of your work?
That's affirmed.
All right, copy that. STC?
STC is complete.
And GTC?
GTC is complete.
Okay, excellent. All right, and LPE, just want to verify we have no open constraints at this time.
No open constraints. We have a clear board, sir.
Okay, tracking the same here. And Launch Director, with that, we are clear and ready to pick up the launch readiness poll with your go.
All right, sir. I am go for the poll.
All right. And for all personnel, this is the NTD conducting the Artemis II launch readiness check. Verify ready to resume count and go for launch. OTC.
TC is go.
STC.
STC is go.
GTC.
C's go.
MCO.
TO's go.
Safety Console.
The Safety Console is go.
LPE.
LPE's go.
RTD.
RTD's go.
Houston Flight.
Houston Flight is go.
ROC.
ROC is go.
And CDR.
Crew is go.
Copy that. Thank you, Reed. And Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
All right, NTD, I copy all. At this time, I'll perform my poll. Attention on the net. This is the Launch Director performing the final poll for launch, verifying no constraints, and go for launch. EGS, Program Chief Engineer.
Artemis Chief Engineers are go.
Copy, thank you. EGS, Chief Safety Officer.
The Artemis CSOs are go.
Copy, thank you. Range Weather.
Launch weather is go.
Thank you, LWO. And Artemis MMT Chair.
MMT's go.
Thank you, John. And Integrity Launch Director.
Good Air West Charlie, PLT.
Thank you, Charlie. This is Victor. We are going for our families.
MS-1.
This is Christina. We are going for our teammates.
MS-2.
This is Jeremy. We are going for all humanity.
All right, Charlie, your Artemis II crew is go for launch. Full send.
I copy that. Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy. On this historic mission, you take with you the heart of this Artemis team, the daring spirit of the American people and our partners across the globe, and the hopes and dreams of a new generation. Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go. And into the launch director.
Go ahead, Launch Director.
Yes, sir. You have a go to proceed with countdown.
Copy that. I'll put it in work. CDR, NTD.
Go.
Your risers and initiate short purge per your EPROC 10.1.1, steps 8 and 9.
10.1.1, 8, and 9 going to work.
Copy. CVSE NTD, start and verify recordings of our Orion cameras.
Copy.
Okay. Well, there you heard it.
RSR NTD.
RSR.
They're getting ready to start terminal count.
SNA arm rotation enable at this time, please.
It's currently at T-minus 10 minutes. Once we wrap up this last bit of work,
SNA arm rotation enable complete.
we're going to start that clock.
Copy that. Thank you.
Integrity crew, close and lock visors.
You heard an issue, worked in real time with telemetry lock on the Orion. It was transitory. It was very short. They checked the data, confirmed that they had a good lock. This was with the S-band transmitter on the Orion. Worked through that issue, looked at the data, and cleared it. All with the world watching. Impressive work by the launch team. So we have a 2-hour window, which starts in just a few minutes at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time and goes until 8:24 p.m. Eastern Time.
And ECL NTD will be waiting for your verification on the short purge.
ECL copies.
And for all personnel, once we get that short purge verification, we'll verify that we are clear to go, and then we'll proceed with the terminal count. ECL time estimate?
About a minute.
Copy.
So we're going into the launch window, but not by much, it looks like. Just wrapping up some final work. And once that's completed, you'll hear NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding ask for the ground launch sequencer operator to go ahead and start the clock. The ground launch sequencer is an application software. It runs on top of the launch control system in the firing room, acts like a conductor of an orchestra, executing hundreds of commands in precise order and timing. It's all autonomous.
NTD CCL 212, short purge initiation is verified.
All right, copy that. And we're verifying our constraints. All right, and we're clear from cutouts. And with that, we're going to resume the clock momentarily. And CGLS, you can resume the clock on your mark.
GLS copies. 3, 2, 1, mark. GLS mainline has been initiated.
T-minus 10 minutes and counting.
And that begins terminal count. Our new T0 is 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We are now counting down to liftoff of Artemis 2. From now on, you're going to hear two voices on the loops. If everything goes nominally, NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding, who's directly managing the launch team, and Alex Bendelos, the GLS operator who closely monitors the software. He has the ability to stop and restart the countdown. A lot of people ask about whether there's a launch button. There certainly is not.
Flight and Rock, our new T0 is 223512.
Houston Flight copies. 223512.
Affirm.
There you heard confirmation of the exact T0, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Again, our T0 is 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. But as I was saying, there's no launch button. This is autonomous, but there is a button that keeps you from launching, and that button allows the GLS operator to pause the countdown outside of terminal count and during terminal count and submit a hold to the next holding point. So the clock won't stop right away. If there's an issue, we'll go to the next stable holding point. This is how GLS configures the rocket and ground systems to a stable point where they can stop the countdown if that's needed. But right now, we are counting down our next big milestone, looking to retract the crew access arm.
GLS is go for crew access arm retract.
And there you see the crew access arm moving away. That's the path that the astronauts took to ingress into the rocket. Until this point, that was their way off the pad if they needed to evacuate. But now with that arm retracting, the backup transitions to a launch abort system, and they'll begin arming that shortly. Of course, the launch abort system, great shot there of the crew access arm retracting away. The launch abort system is the tower at the top, and that's what would pull Orion and its crew off the top of the rocket in case of an emergency, whether it's on the ground or in flight. This is critical safety hardware that protects the lives of the astronauts. Starting at T-minus 6 minutes, the GLS will start bringing that and other high energy systems online, starting with core stage pressurization. Weather is 90% go, the range is go, all systems are go.
GLS is go for core stage tank pressurization.
That means the replenish valve for the liquid hydrogen tank has now closed, and that tank is beginning to pressurize to flight levels because that hydrogen is naturally boiling inside the tank. We'll get the liquid oxygen tank a little later in the count. Now the team is waiting for verification that, if needed, the Artemis II crew could use the launch abort system to pull Orion safely off the top of the rocket in an emergency. Let's listen in for that call.
GLS verifies last capability available.
And CDR, do you copy?
CDR copies, last available.
That's great news, and you heard the NTD verify that with the commander of the mission.
GLS is go for FTS arm.
Now work is being done to arm the flight termination system. This is so the range safety can send a flight termination command if the rocket flies too far off track. There's a brief built-in delay, so the launch abort system has time to pull the astronauts to safety
go for
first.
LH2 high flow bleed check.
All right, the high flow bleed check. That's so the cryo team gets verification that the RS-25 engines, all 4 of them, are in the proper temperature range for launch.
GLS is go for core stage APU start.
Core stage APUs start. Those are auxiliary power units, high-speed turbines, which provide pressure to hydraulic pumps that steer the RS-25 engines. We're going to see a gimbal test a little later at T-minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is what allows that to happen. Coming up in about 20 seconds, we're listening for go for purge sequence 4. That's a helium purge of the 4 core stage engines downstream of the propellant valve. This gets all the air and moisture out of there.
GLS is go for purge sequence 4.
Moving through the milestones. All is looking good. Coming up in just a few seconds, we're going to get that thrust vector control actuator test. This is a gimbaling of the engines. There are the 4 RS-25s, 3 of them shuttle heritage, 1 of them built from shuttle parts. And there you see them moving. Now we're going to start moving the power from both the upper stage and the lower stage of the rocket to internal, taking ground power away and now going to battery power.
GLS is go for upper stage to internal power.
Our power is removed from the rocket's upper stage, the ICPS, and it's been switched to battery. Same milestone for the lower core stage coming up at T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds. Right now, the 4-person Artemis II crew is 248,000 miles away from the moon. And if all goes well, they will fly by it in 6 days.
GLS is go for core stage to internal power.
All right, there's the rocket's core stage, which houses 3 flight computers, is now on its own power. There's no more hold time because there's no more margin on these batteries. So we would have to recycle back to T-minus 10 to recharge if we had a hold.
One minute.
Right now, the rocket does not know what the T0 is, but coming up at T-minus 33 seconds, control shifts from the ground launch sequencer to the rocket's onboard autonomous launch sequencer, or ALS. The rocket will count itself down, but honor any holds that could come from the ground. Now, shortly after liftoff, Houston will take control of the rocket, and my colleague Gary Jordan will take over commentary.
GLS go for ALS.
Great call out. The rocket is on its own. 4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched. Sound suppression water is flowing.
15.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis II mission around the moon.
Integrity, AMT high.
AMT high.
On time, passing 30 seconds into the flights. Integrity passes the alternate MECO. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston saying good performance on 4 main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour. Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute, approaching max Q.
On, Ponce de Leon.
Stan, we have you loud and clear on Ponce de Leon.
Have you the same?
Communication signal transfer confirmed as Integrity and its crew go supersonic. Approaching 90 seconds into the Artemis II mission. Integrity is 14 miles in altitude, 8 miles downrange, traveling more than 2,600 miles per hour. One minute 50 seconds of mission elapsed time, standing by for main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation, expected at the 2-minute 9-second mark. We see throttle down. Confirmed separation. Main engine's throttling up, guidance converged.
Integrity, guidance converged, performance nominal, upper stage RCS ready.
Copy all, Stan.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
SM priming complete.
2 minutes 45 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. Thrusters on Integrity and upper stage confirmed in a ready state, ahead of service module fairing separation. Three minutes into the flight. Integrity, 49 miles in altitude, 78 miles downrange, now passing 5,000 miles per hour. Standing by for launch abort system jettison.
Houston Integrity, good last jettison, great view.
Copy jettison, Team Eco 8+02.
We see the same on board, Stan.
And Houston has you loud and clear on TDRS at the Kármán line.
Outstanding, Stan, we have you the same.
3 minutes 50 seconds into the flight of Artemis II, Wiseman, Glover, Cook, and Hansen cross the boundary to space with good comm checks. GPS signals acquired after last jettison now working on internal checks to verify accuracy. Flight Dynamics Officer analyzed the time of main engine cutoff, confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds, time of MECO.
Integrity, GPS processing.
Outstanding, Stan. We see the same, and we have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it.
Approaching 5 minutes into the flight, Commander Reed Wiseman confirms he has visuals of his destination. GPS guidance, navigation, and control software finishes internal checks and sends to navigation channels.
Integrity, 3 engine press.
3 engine press.
On time, now passing 5 minutes, 20 seconds of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. At this point, 3 good main engines are all that's needed to carry Integrity to a nominal main engine cutoff target. Though at this time, we're seeing 4 good engines here in Mission Control Houston. Integrity, 75 miles in altitude, 330 miles downrange, approaching 10,000 miles per hour.
Integrity, looking good at 6 minutes.
Same on board, Stan.
Good trajectory and engine performance. Booster officer will soon report the shutdown plan to Flight Director Judd Friedling, expected at the 7-minute mark. Integrity, 78 miles in altitude, 460 miles downrange.
Integrity, expect nominal shutdown.
Integrity copies nominal shutdown.
Six minutes, 40 seconds of mission elapsed time. Shutdown plan is as expected. Again, the time of MECO was confirmed at 8 minutes, 2 seconds into the flight. Seven minutes of mission elapsed time. Throttling down as we approach the abort once around option. Milestone at the 7-minute, 30-second mark. Now 84 miles in altitude, 650 miles downrange, traveling more than 15,000 miles per hour.
Integrity, AOA open.
AOA open.
The window is now open for an abort once around option that would target splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Still following nominal ascent at this time. About 10 seconds remaining until the main engine cutoff of the Space Launch System core stage. Standing by for confirmation of MECO and core stage separation.
Integrity and nominal MECO, core stage separated.
We see the same on board, Stan.
Eight minutes, 40 seconds into the flight, we have a nominal main engine cutoff heading in the right trajectory on the way to swing around the moon. Core stage has separated, done its job. The Space Launch System upper stage, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, or ICPS, still attached to the Orion spacecraft. Nine minutes of mission elapsed time. Integrity crew of Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen now in orbit around the Earth at the beginning of their journey to the moon.
Integrity Houston, looking ahead to PRM numbers so far per the pad.
Copy that, Stan. Numbers for the pad.
Capcom Stan Loves, we're now reminding the crew that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition is as expected prior to booster ignition. That time being 49 minutes, 50 seconds of mission elapsed time.
Integrity, good. Neds deploy.
Copy that, Stan. Good, Neds.
And Integrity Houston for PWD setup. Just a reminder, halfway open on the secondary.
We copy that, Stan. Halfway open.
Passing 11 minutes of mission elapsed time. Here, overhearing the conversation between Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed Wiseman, already passing some milestones. We have a good nozzle extension deployment system. That is confirmed, complete. We also have the visors are confirmed up. Now past the dynamic phase of flight, that is ascent. Their launch and entry suits that provided them an extra layer of protection. Now not as needed. They're going to raise those visors. And later in today's mission, they will begin to egress or get out of the suits to begin some of their initial tasks of activating some of the systems aboard in the Integrity spacecraft. It's passing 12 minutes of mission elapsed time. Again, the perigee raise maneuver that's targeted near 50 minutes of mission elapsed time, 49 minutes, 50 seconds. That's what the crew is going to be working towards. The Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover will focus on preparing for that milestone. In the meantime, mission specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen will start some of the activation of environmental control life support systems. You may hear confirmation of their activation over the Orion to Earth communication network.
Houston, C3 aux power back in auto.
Copy C3 aux, and we're 2 minutes to maneuver.
"13 minutes and 30 seconds of mission elapsed time. We're going to continue to follow the crew of the Artemis II mission. They are beginning their journey around the moon to verify the systems that will take us to its surface. An incredible ascent. Artemis II is underway. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey to the moon. Still milestones to come up as we await solar array deploy and the critical burns that will get Integrity into high Earth orbit around the Earth before engines are fired to get us around the moon. We'll keep tabs on Integrity and its crew from here in Mission Control Houston. But for now, we're going to send it back to you, Megan and Nicole at the Kennedy Space Center. Very jealous to hear how the launch experience was over on the Space Coast.
Yeah, Gary, if people are just joining us, welcome back to the Space Coast, where we just saw Artemis II lift off 14 minutes ago. And wow, what an amazing launch, and an emotional one too. As soon as the rocket lifted off, Nicole, you had tears in your eyes, I had tears in my eyes, and we had all these people around us cheering. It was amazing.
Yeah, the energy was wonderful. I mean, it was a beautiful launch. You know, we've got 4 friends and family members headed to the moon. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. How does that make you feel as someone who, you know, is an astronaut as well, but also, as you said, friends?
Yeah, so proud of them. You know, man, we don't have the words in the English language to describe this kind of an event, and pride, love, so many emotions. You know, they are truly breaking some barriers, and hopefully, you know, as Gary just said, they've got a long day ahead of them. So wishing them well on everything. But so far, what a beautiful launch to watch.
Yeah, to be returning to the lunar orbit in more than 50 years. Maybe they go farther from Earth than any other humans before them. Maybe they see parts of the moon that we've never seen before. I mean, what a great start to what could be all of these milestones that we break in just a 10-day mission.
Yes, what a way to welcome in the Artemis generation.
Yeah, how do you feel? I mean, we saw some beautiful shots we were covering of course, the rocket, of course, the Earth falling away as we continued up, up into our ascents, but also some of those crowd shots where we saw young and old, just emotional, overcome by this history-making moment.
Man, we are going back to the moon for all, and we saw that today. We saw that in all the crowds. And yeah, you guys just saw that view, the sunrise or sunset, I guess. They just made it over the crest of the Earth, and you could see the sun peeking over. One of my favorite views from space, and I can't imagine what they're looking at now, and I can't wait to see what they're looking at in about 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm surprised this launched on the first try, because we know, like any little thing, we have to be keeping safety in mind, and we want to make sure we're ready to go. But we were ready to go, and I think it surprised a lot of people. What a wonderful surprise on this Wednesday evening.
It did, and it kind of surprised me as well. But it's just a testament to the team here that has been working so hard on Artemis. Artemis 1, we learned a ton of lessons. We learned a ton from the wet dress for Artemis 2. We were able to go in, fix those things. We even had a couple mishaps today, not mishaps, but a couple anomalies today that the team creatively came up with solutions for. It's just a testament to the teamwork that gets us to the moon.
And so we can continue to watch Christina, Reed, Victor, and Jeremy on their way now to the moon in Earth's orbit and awaiting the next in-flight milestones, deploying Orion's solar arrays. So why don't we get back in with Mission Control and Gary.
Hey, thank you, Megan. Again, we're following along in the action. It is a long day. They have a number of procedures they need to get to immediately in their timeline.
And Integrity Houston, CrossTie is on board per the FCDEM.
We copy, Houston. Thank you.
CrossTie referring to flight controllers here initiating a connection between some of the batteries aboard the Orion spacecraft, allowing for an even distribution of power. This is the flight control teams that took us through ascent of the Artemis 2 mission today. Right now we're, as you see, passing 18 minutes of mission elapsed time. The Orion spacecraft integrity and the interim cryogenic propulsion system are maneuvering tail to sun. It is in this orientation, this attitude.
Integrity, any words on that momentary prop caution?
And Reed, no action, we're looking at it.
Commander Reed Wiseman verifying what is being routed to his displays aboard integrity. Propulsion engineer confirming that no action is needed at this time. They're pressing through with their nominal procedures to prepare for the perigee raise maneuver. And of course, the solar array wing deploy ahead of that. The solar wing deploy is a critical milestone. We'll continue to have our coverage follow the mission until that deployment. Successful launch is just the beginning. The deployment of the solar arrays and successful confirmation that those solar array wings are drawing power is a significant milestone, and says to the flight control teams that we will continue on today's mission. Power needs to be drawn to continue through some of the next milestones. Until then, the AOA open option that was called up upon ascent, the aboard once around, is the current option, and the board to orbit option ATO will be switched to a preferred mode at the time that the solar array wings are deployed and latched. It gives the flight control teams a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, Integrity Houston, update on TDRS handover for your pad.
Give us just 1 minute. And Stan, you can read it. Ike is ready to copy.
Roger. TDRS handover east to west expected 1 second earlier at 5:1 minutes 26 seconds.
Hi, Stan. We copy 1 second earlier for 5126 Teachers East to West, and saws are starting to deploy. Thermal knives are firing.
We concur. Thanks for the report.
Read back of the reports that you just heard on the Orion to Earth network. Integrity has maneuvered tail to sun. The RL-10 nozzle on the end of the ICPS is pointed towards the sun, and the solar array deployment sequence has begun. With the deployment confirmed, it'll be several minutes until they are what is called in a latched position. Once they are latched and confirmed to be drawing power, they can switch the mode to ATO and continue along the mission. The teacher's handover at the pad, that message meant the crew was provided some preliminary numbers of when to expect handovers between the tracking and data relay satellites. Currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of 545 statute miles above the Earth, they are in a near-Earth network communication system. The tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that are stationed about 23,000 miles above the Earth. After the apogee rays burn, that occurs later today, the burn itself will put them in an altitude that surpasses the range of the tracking and data relay satellites, and they will transition to the deep space network today.
And Integrity, for prop messages, we see 2 temperature measurements right near the line. It's that momentary message you saw earlier. We're going to suppress those. It's CM helium heater 2 T1 and heater 1 T1. They're going suppressed.
Integrity, thank you. We see the same.
This is Mission Control Houston, passing 23 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. This is after a launch that began at 5:35 and 12 seconds Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the orientation you're seeing from our arrow visualization that translates some of the telemetry that we're getting from the spacecraft and puts it into a model so you can follow along on some of the milestones that we are following here. The RL-10 nozzle that you see at the left end of your screen, though it is currently not firing, that nozzle is pointed towards the sun, and the solar arrays are currently deploying. From this visualization, they look fully stowed in a position.
Integrity, we are happy to report that Jeremy has the O2 sensors on.
Copy O2 sensors.
Again, Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover overseeing the deployment of the solar arrays. And we'll follow the attitude maneuver changes ahead of the first burn of the ICPS engine, the perigee raise maneuver.
Integrity Houston, we see 4 saws deployed and latched, ready for ATO preferred.
Yeah, we're almost there in the procedure stand, and we see the same thing.
And Integrity Houston, we are seeing a 7-second miscompare between the MET on Orion and ICPS. We'd like you to read us the MET from your center status bar and for the ICPS on StackSum.
And Stan, we see a absolutely precise alignment. MET 25, 14, 15, 16, precisely aligned with ICPS MET.
Copy, thank you for that. We'll investigate a ground issue.
And Houston Integrity, ATO preferred set.
Copy, ATO preferred.
This is Mission Control Houston, 25 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight of Artemis 2. We have confirmation that all 4 solar array wings are deployed and latched. This is the configuration needed to switch to ATO preferred, which you did hear confirmed from pilot Victor Glover. That mode has been switched. There's also a discussion with Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed Wiseman about the alignment of the MET clocks on the Orion spacecraft and the ICPS. Commander Reed Wiseman confirmed the clocks are in sync, no issues. They're going to investigate it on the ground. We're proceeding with today's mission. 26 minutes of mission elapsed time and counting.
In our journey to Mars. We need to go explore the moon. There's vast reach.
8 million pounds of thrust, right? And it's the people on Earth who do that and who create that, the engineers, the scientists. There are so many people who make this mission happen.
And so if all goes well, this crew could travel farther from Earth than any other humans before them and see parts of the moon no one has ever laid eyes on. And now, speaking of laying eyes, here we are in the suit-up room with the Artemis 2 crew.
Yes, looks like the commander's getting his comm cap on, so the communication cap. Looks like Victor's already got his on and the helmet going.
He's just stretching out his wrist a little bit, right?
Yes.
And in charge of liftoff today is Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson. She and her team are just across the street from us inside of the Launch Control Center. They kicked off continuous around-the-clock operations just before 5 p.m. on Monday and started fueling the rocket about 4 hours ago. They have a 2-hour launch window that opens at 6:24 p.m. Eastern time, which our clock in the upper left-hand corner is counting down to. And, you know, we just heard from Charlie Blackwell Thompson in our tanking coverage, which was the broadcast just before this one kicked off. And basically, she said weather is 80% go.
Yes, you know, 80%, we will take that. It's a little windy. There's some clouds building, but we're going to keep an eye on it. And 80% is a good number to keep moving today.
Yeah, and what she said was a wave of showers are moving west, but they should be well past the pad by the time we launch again. Hopefully at 6:24 p.m. today.
Hopefully.
All right, so again, let's head back into that suit-up room. We see Reed Wiseman. He is the commander of the Artemis 2 crew. And Nicole, he is putting on what you guys are calling the communications cap, the comm cap.
Yes, so it's a little bit for protection of his, of his head there, but also you can see the mic booms and he's got ear cups there so he can hear, the rocket's loud. So you're going to wear hearing protection, but then we also want to be able to talk to Earth and talk to each other. So they're getting that settled, and then he will put the helmet on over that comm cap. That comm cap will also connect into the suit, which then eventually connects into the capsule. Through an umbilical there, so there's a lot of cords and wires. You can see them tuck in that cord under his chin right now.
And so the suits they're wearing, they're called the Orion Crew Survival Suits, or OX suits. And so they're worn for launch and reentry or during high risk or emergency situations. And I think a lot of people, especially if they're have been following NASA for all these decades now, they're kind of thinking, hey, these look like the suits that our shuttle astronauts used to wear. There is a lot of resemblance here.
That's true. Yeah, they are very similar. NASA does a great job of leveraging the lessons that we learned from previous missions. So dating all the way back to Apollo, some of our first spaceflight missions, we learned lessons about the suits and how to make them better. And we just continued to carry that through all the way into the Artemis mission.
Time now to introduce you to some of our teams today. We have Gary Jordan at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. He's going to be inside with the mission control teams, which will take over from Kennedy's launch control team right at liftoff. And then back here at Florida, there's Megan Carter inside Kennedy Space Center's visitor complex, Jasmine Hopkins at a launch viewing location, and then finally Daryl Nail inside the Launch Control Center with the launch team. Now, each is going to provide a very unique experience today, starting first with Daryl, who has been closely monitoring the launch countdown for us.
Yeah, and welcome into Firing Room 1, a historic firing room here at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here reporting what's happening as we lead up to countdown and liftoff of Artemis 2. So far, looking pretty good. You see the rocket out there on the pad. It is launch day, and we just got that crew weather brief that you were talking about from Launch Director Charlie Blackwell-Thompson to the crew. It looks like a countdown at this point is in good shape, and that's great news. Fueling continues to track well. We just reached all stages replenish. And while we're talking about the fueling, let's talk about that tanking. Pull up the tanking graphic if we could now. That will give us an indication of where we are with tanking. And I can just tell you, as you see from this board right here, we are all stages replenish. So all tanks on board the SLS, the 2 liquid hydrogen, lower stage and upper stage, and 2 liquid oxygen, lower stage and upper stage, are at 100%, and that's exactly where we want to be. This kicked off at 7:30 this morning with a go for cryo load, and here we are roughly about 5 hours later, and we're fully tanked and now in replenish. The amount of propellant on board, roughly 733,000 gallons. That's about an Olympic-sized pool and a half. Huge amount of propellant. It's all flowed in there. The great news there, no leaks, no issues, and we're looking good at this point. So let's talk weather now. The weather, while it is favorable overall, it's not totally clean. And that was hinted at earlier when we talked about the storms. There is, of course, some onshore flow. Currently, our overall attempt percentage stands at 80% chance of acceptable weather conditions at the time of liftoff, which is going to be within our launch window. That's tonight from 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time until 8:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Winds are good. The lightning risk is low. But scattered showers still remain possible around the Cape and including near the pad. So the expectation is that there'll be some more active weather coming our way, but we're expecting it to push to the west. So the watch item is really any isolated shower that could briefly move through the area and trigger a constraint, especially for flight through precipitation. Well, you're looking now inside the astronaut suit-up room, and of course we got the 4 astronauts there. They talked to Charlie Blackwell-Thompson today, and you know, everything looks good there. We're tracking one minor NC issue at this point. We'll talk, it's a non-conformance. We'll talk about that a little bit later in our next hit. But for now, again, looking good. And of course, our administrator for NASA is here in the firing room. He checked in with the launch director, chatted with her for several minutes, and he's here in the firing room, which is a good positive sign, of course, for the day. That's it for the firing room. We'll send it back now to Megan and Nicole.
Daryl, thank you so much. Yeah, let's get back into the suit-up room here, where we now have a shot of all 4 astronauts, and it appears all of them are undergoing their suit leak checks. Can you talk to us about what that is, Nicole?
Sure. Yeah, you can see, you know, as the suit expands, that we're going to pressurize those suits. So in the case that we need it, if we lose pressure in the capsule, those suits will protect the astronauts and keep them pressurized and keep them survivable. So these guys are going to hold their breath for about 10 seconds. You know, any movement in the suit could cause changes in the pressure. And so we want to get a really nice, precise, accurate measurement on the leak check. And so they'll hold their breath. You know, even just their heartbeat could potentially make some differences in those super sensitive sensors there. So you can see the red and blue valves there, the air in and air out. And it looks like Victor just had a good leak check.
Yeah, and actually they do 3 leak checks, again, just to get an average reading to say, hey, you know, we have confidence that these suits are holding the right pressure. As Nicole said, that tube that's going in, that's putting air into their suits, and then there was that gold instrument that you saw on their other side. That's how they can control how much pressure is being released in order to do these checks.
Yep, and they will do the leak checks here in the suit room, and then they'll do more actually in the capsule as well. They'll do another leak check. So we're going to make sure the suits are ready to go before we even step out the door, and then we'll check them with the entire system on the capsule once they get out to the rocket.
And you might also notice that some of the astronauts, while they're doing their suit leak checks, you might have seen Victor gave an okay sign. You might also see a thumbs up, and that's because concurrently, while they're doing these suit leak checks, they're also doing comm checks.
Yes, yeah, we talked about the comm cap earlier and the umbilical and how they plug in. So yeah, they're going to test the comm, they're going to test the suit, make sure everything. They're actually probably testing the cooling system as well right now. You know, they're going to plug into the portable cooling system and make sure that all of that is working. So like I said, we want to make sure we've got 4 healthy suits before we go out.
Yeah, this suit, 3 layers, so obviously it can get hot.
Yes.
So one of the layers is a cooling undergarment, and basically they flow cold liquid through that undergarment to keep the astronauts cool and comfortable before liftoff today.
Yeah, it's like a onesie with a bunch of tubes running around it, and the water flows through there to cool you down.
All right, lots of information to share with you all today. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. All you have to do is send your questions our way by tagging @NASA Artemis, and we'll try to answer as many of your questions live. And we'll also have some questions for you throughout the broadcast, so we hope you can participate in those opportunities as well. Okay, as we continue to be inside the suit-up room here, why don't we learn a little bit about each of our crew members? Right now, we are looking at pilot Victor Glover, but hopefully we can get a shot here of our commander, Reed Wiseman. Now, Reed Wiseman is a Baltimore native. He's been in space once before as flight engineer for Expedition 41 aboard the International Space Station from May through November 2014. During the 165-day mission, Reed and his crewmates completed, get this, more than 300 science experiments in areas like human physiology, medicine, physical science, earth science, and also astrophysics. They actually set a milestone for station science by completing a record 82 research hours in a single week. He also served as chief of NASA's astronaut office from December 2020 to November 2022, and Reed has 2 daughters.
Yeah, I love Reed is such a great leader. He was the chief of the astronaut office when they hired our class of astronauts. And so, you know, I think I have to publicly thank him for my job here today. But yeah, he's a family man. He's a good leader. And he's a great pick for the commander of this mission.
Yeah, I think, you know, in talking through some of his other accomplishments, obviously he has leadership qualities that makes him prepared for commander of Artemis 2.
Yes, yes, he does. He's a well-experienced naval officer and now NASA astronaut.
And so now here we are, pilot Victor Glover. NASA selected the California native as an astronaut in 2013. At the time, he was actually serving as a legislative fellow in the United States Senate. His first trip to space was in November 2020 when he launched as pilot of NASA's SpaceX Crew 1 mission. That was the first operational mission of NASA's Commercial Crew program, which resumed launching American rockets from American soil to the International Space Station at the end of the shuttle program. Victor is a U.S. Navy captain and naval aviator who served as a test pilot, racking up more than 3,500 flight hours in more than 40 different aircraft. He and his wife, Deanna, have 4 children.
Yeah, 4 children, a lot of energy, but that checks, right? Because when I think of Victor Glover, I think of a lot of energy, smart guy who's always excited and ready to go. And there you go, he's smiling in the suit room this morning.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. All of them are. This whole entire crew, they're just a good group of human beings, of leaders, of friends, family. You know, I have never heard anybody say anything bad about any of these 4. They're also well accomplished, and they're also deserving of this opportunity to return to the moon.
Yeah, and they're also humble, right? They're just standard humans going to the moon, but you would never know that when you talk to them in a normal conversation.
And so it looks like Christina here has completed her suit leak checks as well, her communication checks too.
Yep, they've already got her gloves off. They're getting ready to kind of hang out and relax a little bit, I think, before they walk out.
She is a mission specialist for this mission, native of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Was selected to the Astronaut Corps in 2013, so actually same class as Victor. She served as flight engineer on the International Space Station from March 2019 to February 2020. And during that time, Cook set a record for the longest single space flight by a woman with a total of 328 consecutive days in space. She also participated in the first ever all-female spacewalk. And before becoming an astronaut, Christina helped build space science instruments and led scientific field work in some of the most remote environments on the planet. Her hobbies include surfing, rock climbing, community service, yoga, travel, and photography. Again, so much. When does she find the time?
That's a great question. You know, one of the things I love about Christina is that she's broken records and she's achieved all these milestones. But one of the things that she talks about is, you know, she just wants people to set goals and go work hard and do something that's meaningful to you. And she really hopes that her records are broken as soon as possible. She does it for her family, and she'll talk about all of her nieces and nephews quite a bit. So just, again, another example of just a humble human who's got a great support system in her family and excited for the mission.
Yeah, she's always saying that she just wants the opportunity to push people farther, to push humanity farther, see what we can accomplish together. So, yeah, again, all four of them say that. They're really in tune on what they think or what they feel like their role is in this mission.
Yeah, I think their legacy is going to be, you know, providing the shoulders for others to climb on.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, first-time flyer, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen will fly to the moon as a mission specialist on the Artemis II mission. The London, Ontario native was selected as an astronaut in 2009. After that, he worked as Capcom at NASA's Mission Control Center in Houston. Capcom stands for Capsule Communicator, and that's the sole direct voice communicating with astronauts in space. He also participated in training exercises such as living on the ocean floor off the coast of Florida to simulate deep space exploration for 7 days. In 2017, he became the first Canadian to lead a NASA astronaut class. He also enjoys getting out on a sailboat, rock climbing, and mountain biking. Jeremy and his wife, Catherine, have 3 children, and he actually got to hang out with them over the weekend. So the crew arrived here for launch at Kennedy Space Center on Friday, and then their family members arrived Saturday.
Yes, yeah. As long as their family can quarantine with them, then they will stay, you know, quarantined in Houston, and then they all fly down to Kennedy Space Center, and then you get to spend the last few days with your close family and friends. We actually do a behind the glass visit with some of those other maybe extended family members that couldn't quarantine with you. But yeah, it's a quaint time here once you get to Kennedy Space Center.
A great sign here, all 4 astronauts have removed their helmets. And that indicates again that all 4 have completed suit leak checks. And so, Nicole, what they're doing now is they have these pockets on their forearms. That's just somewhere where they can put personal items that they might want, right?
Yeah, just kind of stowage pockets. You know, there's always something that you might need or want while you're in the capsule, and then also last-minute personal items if you want to put a couple things in there. So everybody kind of has their own unique stash in their pockets.
And then another pocket has emergency equipment that they might need, right? Like a signaling mirror, things like that.
Right. Yeah. The suit is basically all in one. You know, it's got the oxygen bottles there on their right legs. You'll see in a different shot. They've got pockets with survival gear in it, and that is to keep them safe. So if they had to egress the capsule, either from the launch pad or from the water, then they will have all of the survival gear with them. They'll have about 10 minutes of oxygen as well from that bottle so that they can get to safety quickly and safely.
We are now 5 hours, 3 minutes and counting from the opening of our 2-hour launch window, and we have our first questions from social media. Question here from X. So to be clear, this is not a mission to land, but to orbit the moon. Thank you, and thank our astronauts. Nicole.
Yeah, this is a great question. I think it's important to highlight the mission of Artemis 2, where we are going to go around the moon. We're going to see the far side of the moon. We're going to see parts of the far side of the moon that human eyes have never seen before. It's very similar to the Apollo 8 mission, right? We're also potentially going to be able to see the landing sites for the future Artemis missions and kind of provide the overall context of those landing sites amongst the entire moon site there. So it's an exciting mission. We'll get to learn a ton about there's so much science that's going to be on this mission as well, right? Where they're going to do some science experiments on humans, learn about the stress of the environment, and we're going to learn about the radiation environment. We're going to learn about the suits as well. We've got some technology demonstrations that are going to happen. So there's a lot going on this mission as we fly around the moon and come back.
Mm-hmm. We always say it's about increments, right? Like we're making that next giant leap to Mars, but in order to do that safely and to do that thoroughly, incremental steps.
Exactly. And, like we said, this is the first time that we've put crew on this rocket. And so actually, before we even head to the moon, right, we're going to stay close to the Earth, and we're going to check out all of the systems on Orion, make sure that it can handle 4 humans, make sure it can handle people sleeping, people exercising, all of the environmental control systems are working. So we want to make sure that the capsule is safe for the crew before we send them, almost 250,000 miles away.
Yeah, that was a great question. And we actually have another one that we'll pull up on screen here. Another question from X. How long will it take them to reach the moon, and how long will the entire mission last?
Another great question, right? So they're going to do a couple orbits around the Earth. They'll do a perigee and an apogee raise burn. What that means is that they're going to accelerate to get further away from the Earth, and they'll get into a really highly elliptical orbit first. And then once they get into the translunar injection, so they're actually on a free return trajectory, which means we're going to accelerate them, and then they're going to escape Earth's gravity. And then just based on orbital mechanics, they'll be able to come home without having to do another burn or acceleration. So it'll take about 4 days once they leave Earth's gravity to get to the moon. They'll fly around the moon, about 4 days back, and then land. So overall, about a 10-day mission.
Exactly. Yeah, these are really great questions, guys. We know that, again, we are sharing a lot of information today, so please do not hesitate to reach out. Obviously, Nicole, very smart here, and we're happy to answer any of your questions. Again, tag @NASA Artemis wherever you're watching this coverage. And now we actually have a question for you. Who would you take with you on a trip around the moon? Would it be your bestie? Would it be a pet, family member, or a seasoned astronaut? Think about that one. I know.
I like that.
I absolutely know what I would say. I think it would make my husband upset, but I have my answer here. But we'd love for you to go to NASA's Instagram or Twitch accounts to vote. Again, who would you take to the moon with you? Bestie, pet, family, or seasoned astronaut? Try to go vote, and then we will share your answers soon. Again, husband is not gonna like my answer. And we're not the only ones with questions today. We will also hear from celebrities during our launch coverage. See what Stanley Tucci, Scarlett Johansson, and others want to know about NASA's Artemis 2 test flight. Plus the surprise of a lifetime as kids marveled at the rocket and spacecraft rolling to the launch pad. Look at those cute faces there. Oh, I love that. Love those suits. And we'll show you how the astronauts will eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom while in space. Keep in mind, the Orion spacecraft is about the size of a 6-person tent.
Yeah, not super big, but, it's 10 days with your 3 best friends. So I think it's manageable for sure. But, every ounce counts when you're trying to get to the moon.
And as we continue to look into the suit-up room here, a fist pump for some of the folks in the crowd there by Victor. Why don't we take a look around the center here? We know that there are some folks who are already getting ready to check out the team here as they drive across KSC to their launch pad. Look at that. Oh, that's so awesome.
That's a great crowd.
They're waiting there in front of the vehicle assembly building. So actually, they're just down the road from us. This is a good crowd, as Nicole said. Oh, there they are. They just got their cue. Oh, now? Let me wave now.
Oh, yeah, they are excited.
That's amazing. So all of these folks, content creators that are getting behind the scenes access as part of NASA's NASA social experience here. So as you can see, very excited. the crew will get into their convoy and drive past them here pretty shortly.
Yeah, what an amazing way to share the Artemis story, right? By inviting these social media experts out to share the story as they drive by.
All right, again, let's take a look at the clock. 4 hours, 58 minutes and counting from the opening of today's 2-hour launch window. So why don't we check back in with Daryl with the launch team.
Megan and Nicole, and inside Fire Room 1, I'm listening to Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson greet the Ascent crew who just came on console over there at Johnson Space Center. So good to have the mission control team jumping on with us. So far, the launch team here in the firing room has had a really good morning. Really smooth tanking that kicked off at 7:30 a.m. this morning. They got to all stages replenish just before 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and it was an incredibly smooth tanking. That's great as we look here watching the crew and also with an eye on the rocket. Weather, of course, we've talked a little bit about that. It's favorable overall, 80% go for our 2-hour window between 6:24 p.m. and 8:24 p.m. We don't have an exact T0 right now because that's going to come to us closer when we get closer to launch, roughly about 20 minutes before liftoff. But it's going to be within that window and towards the beginning, provided everything continues to go smoothly along the timeline. And so far, that's been the case. I mentioned that there was a small issue in my previous live hit that actually was incorrect. There was no issue. I've gotten the good data now that I'm on the headset and listening into the loops. Engineers, avionics engineers are keeping an eye on a display unit inside Orion that's just running a little cooler than normal. It's not going out of limit. It's actually completely fine. But they just were noting the trend and reported that to the NASA test director. So they'll keep their eyes on that. But again, there was no LCC violation. And once they get the cover off Orion out there that's protecting it from the rain, they expect the temperatures inside the Orion crew capsule to stabilize. And with that, we'll send it back to the host desk with Megan and Nicole.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Now, Daryl is inside Firing Room 1 in the Launch Control Center, or LCC, as you might hear it referred to, which was built in 1967 to support Apollo missions. In fact, Apollo 11, the mission that landed on the moon in 1969, that was called from the exact same firing room. NASA then upgraded the LCC to support shuttle missions and now Artemis. You can see there a shot from when we supported shuttle. Now with Artemis, the primary launch team for today is in Firing Room 1, but there is actually support staff in Firing Room 2 as well. And together they will propel this ambitious test flight off Earth.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars. We need to go explore the moon. There's vast regions of unexplored areas with the coldest, darkest places in our solar system. This is a test mission, and when we get off the planet, we might come right back home. We might spend 3 or 4 days around Earth. We might go to the moon. That's where we want to go, but it is a test mission, and we are ready for every scenario as we ride this amazing space launch system and the Orion spacecraft.
But another reason we're going back to the moon is to fulfill NASA's mission, which is to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And when we succeed and when we accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish, that inspiration not only can set up new things to happen, but it also is a reminder in tough times that we're capable of doing great things when we work together.
The thing I love about the moon is that it's not just a beacon for exploration and this platform of possibilities for incredible missions like this, but it has benefits. That's actually why we're racing towards it.
Those benefits are really wide in nature. You have everything from innovation, technology development, not only for future missions going deeper into the solar system, but technologies that come back to Earth. You have inspiration, a whole generation of people starting this pipeline of STEM workers and manufacturers and operators that are excited to see what you can do when you work hard and you come together as a team.
When I think about the four of us flying around the far side of the moon, seeing that Earth rise, taking images and video and sending them back to you, the feeling that I have inside is hope. We know that Artemis 2 is not the solution for humanity on planet Earth, but it is a contribution in the positive column. We hope that just for a moment that people will pause and say, wow, it's extraordinary when you look back upon the Earth with over 8 billion people, and you see this concrete example of what humanity can do, this extraordinary thing when we set big goals and we work together to achieve them.
Now, Kennedy's launch control team takes us to liftoff, but then mission control at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston takes over. That's where we have our Gary Jordan embedded with that team. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Megan and Nicole, it's great to be joining you from here in Houston, Texas. I'm in NASA's Mission Control Center, where the Artemis II Ascent flight control teams, led by Flight Director Judd Freeling, recently started their shift to monitor the Orion spacecraft integrity, the Space Launch System, and the crew to make sure all criteria is met to commit to today's launch and the mission ahead. The team you see here in this room today has been training extensively to prepare for the highly dynamic phase of flight that begins shortly after engine ignition. Teams here will be monitoring the flight of the Space Launch System, Orion, and of course, the Artemis II crew on board as they make their way from the Kennedy Space Center into Earth orbit. The lead console positions will be in this room called the White Flight Control Room, a room which traces its legacy to the Space Shuttle program with the first shift supporting STS-70 in 1995, more than 30 years ago. Each console represents an expert in a particular discipline, whether it be communications, propulsion, crew health, life support systems, or trajectory. And each of these individuals has a support team in other rooms, each ensuring that no data point is left unchecked, no procedure is missed, and combining efforts as one Artemis team to ensure crew safety and mission success. After liftoff, Mission Control Houston will be staffed around the clock over the next 10 days until the spacecraft is safed for the recovery teams and the crew is extracted from integrity and brought aboard the recovery vessel. The roar of a powerful Space Launch System liftoff is just the beginning. The mission is, of course, a test mission, and the first with humans on board Orion and in deep space. The crew's job is to put the systems and capabilities of Orion to the test, taking us closer to a sustained presence on the lunar surface. It's great to see the crew gathered around the table. Megan, with that, we'll toss it back to you as we continue to monitor from here in Mission Control Houston. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Gary. Yes, a pre-flight tradition that we have seen with our crewed flights and our astronauts, the card game, Nicole.
Yeah, you know, this is a fun time for the crew. Kind of relax a little bit, play a card game with the chief. You can see Scott Tingle there is the dealer today. Looks like they're playing high card wins. So Victor won, he's out. Now Jeremy's out. You know, there are two schools of thought on this game. Either you want to get rid of all your bad luck or go out on a high note. So it looks like the crew chose we're going out on a high note. And, you know, I think one of my favorite parts when I talked to Reed about this is he was just excited to play a game with his old boss from Naval Test Pilot School. So once again, his boss today.
Yeah, and I love this part of the tradition because this is when, again, you usually see them like, yeah, laughing, but very focused still. But when they get to this table, laughs, high fives, smiles, just really a brief moment of levity in what can be and will be a very long day for them.
Yes, you know, it's a long day. There's a lot of preparation that goes in today. And so they're just, I think, for at least for us, it was a nice brief moment of some relaxation, a couple laughs, you know, a moment to take a few deep breaths and reflect on the mission ahead, and then, you know, get some high fives as well.
And so with their bad luck dispelled, some good luck from Scott Tingle, let it seem like there, right?
Yes, definitely. It's actually a really fun tradition. You know, I think that card game is more steeped in tradition than anything else. Every crew has played that same card game.
As you said, Nicole, the primary reason for why they're there to suit up, to do communications checks, to do pressure checks all done. And now it seems like Reed had some words for the team in that room?
Yeah, you know, this day can't happen without thousands of people, right? And so the suit room is a great example of that. You've got all of the suit techs, and you've got your support team there, everyone who has made this day possible. You know, they've been working with the suit team for years at this point, getting ready.
So some fist bumps to the group. Again, the suit team are the folks dressed up in those white, very snazzy outfits. Special outfits that we can talk a little bit more about later. But each crew member was assigned their own suit technician. So as you said, working very closely with the same person to make sure that the crew felt comfortable and ready in these suits as they lift off from Kennedy Space Center.
Right, and you know, each suit is slightly different, each person is slightly different, and so these suit techs know each individual super well. They know exactly how they like to get into the suit, exactly where things might get caught, or, you know, small adjustments that might need to be made. So they know their suit techs well, and their suit techs know them very well.
And so as we take a couple of pictures here, we really hope that you are learning a lot about the suits and the process of checking them out for a mission. But imagine the opportunity to get a hands-on demonstration from people who helped design these suits. Take a look.
Anyone want to try on one of the gloves? I love showing the kids the suit. I love how excited they get about space. Oh!
So that would be...
It just goes in there? We got to bring some stuff for them to actually put their hands in, and some of them were very excited because they want to be astronauts when they grow up.
I would love to be an astronaut. That would be incredible. I'd like to be like an engineer that like maybe designs the suits.
Whether it's the calm, the orange color, every aspect has an important function for our astronauts in space.
It's going to be amazing seeing astronauts up close to the moon again.
And that was a special event at Johnson Space Center. What we just saw there, obviously a big part of why this mission is so important to NASA, really just an opportunity to inspire everyone, especially kids, right, Nicole, to dream big and be curious.
Oh man, yeah, the kids are so important, right? I love talking to kids. You know, they are the future of spaceflight. They are the Artemis generation. And, you know, if we could just inspire even one of them to go on to be a scientist or an engineer or maybe even an astronaut someday, that's a win.
And now let's turn our focus to the rocket for a little bit. Powering liftoff will be, again, NASA's Space Launch System rocket right behind us. And to learn more about SLS, let's go to Megan Carter, who's at Kennedy Space Center's Visitor Complex at an exhibit dedicated to Artemis and the future of spaceflight.
That's right, Megan. I am so excited to be over here at the Visitor Center, but not just because of launch. I get to introduce you to the moon board. This is obviously a very complex mission, lots of moving parts and pieces. So the moon board is going to allow me to break some of those things down for you just a little bit more in depth, starting with that SLS rocket. Now, the SLS, or the Space Launch System, very big, very powerful. It is going to be producing 8.8 million pounds of thrust at launch. And like I mentioned, very large, as you can see here, going to stand about 322 feet tall with Orion there on top, just a little bit taller than the Statue of Liberty. Now, there are many components that make up this rocket, so I'm going to point out just a handful that you're going to hear about a lot throughout this broadcast, starting with our boosters. These two twin solid rocket boosters are going to be very powerful. They are going to burn for the first 2.5 minutes of flight, and each one is going to stand 17 stories tall. They weigh in at about 1.6 million pounds each. Now, I am going to jump back out and I'm going to show you a little bit about our core stage. That's going to be known as the backbone, essentially, of our rocket. And it is made up of around 5 components, starting with this engine section down here. This engine section is where our 2 propellants are going to be funneled down through our pipelines, and they are going to be mixed at 2 different temperatures, very complex processing. And they are then going to go on to feed that fuel to our 4 very powerful RS RS-25 engines. These are going to produce about 500,000 pounds of thrust each at launch, and they will burn for 8 minutes. All right, now jumping up here, we are going to take a look because I just mentioned those propellants. Obviously, we do need fuel, and that is why we have around 535,000 gallons of that liquid hydrogen. That's approximately about the same amount that you could fill an Olympic-sized pool, just to give you an idea. And then we're also going to have that liquid oxygen, and like I mentioned, there's going to be about 200,000 gallons for that one, and they are going to be funneled down through those lines that you see here on the side. All right, jumping up real quick, this is going to be our upper stage. That is where our core avionics are going to be stored, essentially the brains of the spacecraft. And then jumping out super quick, let's see if we can zoom in here, and we can. Those propellants I talked about are going to be stored at cryogenic temperatures. That means thousands of degrees below Fahrenheit, so they have to be kept very cold. And that, all those bumps and ridges there that you see, those are actually going to be an insulation spray that's going to help keep that rocket nice and cool, keep the propellants ready to go, and get us set up for success. Now, obviously, that was a very quick overview of our rocket. I have so much more to show you here on our moon board, but for now, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. A very impressive demo of the moon board, but also an impressive system, obviously. She mentioned 4 RS-25 engines on the core stage, and actually we have one right behind us here, used during the shuttle program, and I got to get a closer look at it with Space Launch Systems Engines Deputy Manager Philip Benefield.
Okay, so Philip, in terms of size, shape, and function, will we see here behind us exactly what we see on the pad?
Absolutely, Megan, absolutely. So this is the RS-25 engine.
Impressive.
We have 4 of these on the bottom of the SLS rocket to propel the SLS rocket in Orion into low Earth orbit.
And we've been seeing views of the pad throughout this broadcast, but you mostly only see the bell here. What's happening over here?
Right, so this is generally what we call the power head section of the engine. So the purpose here is that it takes in the propellants from the vehicle tanks, the liquid oxygen in minus 297 degrees, super cold stuff. The liquid hydrogen even colder, minus 423 Fahrenheit. There's 4 turbo pumps on the engine that pressurize that propellant up to 9,000 PSI in areas. It is all directed into the main combustion chamber where it is burned into hot gas that then is accelerated out the nozzle to produce thrust.
When you say hot gas, what are we talking about?
We're talking 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit gas.
Wow, so we're talking really cold as liquids coming into the combustion chamber, and then it comes out as really, really hot gas. How do you design, how do you engineer something to control both extremes?
Absolutely, it's a very technically challenging. One of the main things here with the nozzle is that since you have the 6,000 degree Fahrenheit gas coming out, you have to cool that nozzle so it doesn't melt. And so the way the nozzle is constructed with these 1,080 coolant tubes. And so each of these coolant tubes flows a small amount of hydrogen. It keeps it cold, and so it doesn't melt during operation.
Wow. I mean, all of the science that you're talking about, it is truly amazing that you guys designed this for shuttle, and yet you've reconfigured it, retooled it to be able to now support Artemis. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's really amazing, the fact that we were able to use the heritage hardware on the Space Launch System. The engine itself, developed through the space shuttle program, many upgrades to make it more reliable and improve the thrust as well.
Perfect. Philip, thank you so much. I can't wait to see all 4 function.
Same here. Thanks, Megan. Enjoyed it.
And again, another idea and way that we are learning from what we've built upon and figured out all into this moment.
Yes, with so much more thrust and capability, like we said, we learn all those lessons from previous missions, and we get to involve them here today.
And here we are, the closeout crew in the White Room, getting ready for the astronauts who have just left crew suit up and are now walking down a hallway to greet some family and friends downstairs. Commander Reed Weissman, Pilot Victor Glover, Mission Specialist Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen. Looking excited, ready. Now in that elevator to take them 3 floors down. Thumbs up, one more photo, one more photo. Oh, nope, a couple more people in that elevator. Those are important folks. They're going with them to the pad.
Yeah, this is a fun elevator ride.
Yeah.
And, you know, actually you couldn't see them because they're off camera, but the support crew that's actually in crew quarters with us is right there waving goodbye and saying goodbye to you. So it's a really special moment to say thank you and say goodbye to the support crew at crew quarters.
That's amazing. And so again, they will ride down 3 floors And then soon we'll walk out the doors that you see underneath the banner there that says their names. These doors, the same doors that astronauts who have launched from Kennedy Space Center have walked out of since the Apollo program.
Yes, and you can see another tradition is putting your patch on that archway as well. So I'm sure they did that over the last couple days.
They did. It's actually it's so hard to see because there's so many of them, which is also great, but it's on the door frame on the right-hand side, the very, very bottom.
Awesome.
Great crowd here. A shot now of everyone who is waiting to greet the crew as they walk out of the operations and checkout building here at Kennedy Space Center and will board their ride to the launch pad.
Yeah, this is a really great shot, right? Because you get to see a little bit of what goes on there. So you've got the close family that were in quarantine with them up close. They get to wave goodbye one last time. You've got a little bit of media in the background, and then you've got some NASA employees and a lot of the program managers off to the side as well to wave goodbye one last time and wish them luck.
Yeah, it's a really nice moment. Again, they have had some quality time with family, but this is their final opportunity to say, see ya in 10 days.
Yep, the last wave.
And so there are different pens of people, again, as Nicole was alluding to, specific to the quarantine rules that you followed in order to be able to have that access, have that closeness with the crew. And then on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, the Astrovan. And that is going to be the crew's ride out to the launch pad. This modified Airstream motorhome can seat up to 8 people inside. It has a TV and sound system, and we know they plan to watch a video during their trip out, right, Nicole?
Yes. So I think Top Gun is on the menu,
yes.
And then also Point Break because Christina surfs. So I think they've got a pretty decent entertainment planned. So
I love that. It gets them in the headspace, the right headspace to really just enjoy the ride to space. NASA's history with Airstream dates back to the 60s when the company created a crew quarantine vehicle for when astronauts returned from the moon. This picture here, President Nixon talking to the Apollo 11 astronauts inside said quarantine vehicle. Then during the shuttle program, Airstream created the first generation Astrovan, a 27-foot motorhome that transported astronauts across KSC to their launch pad. And again, that is what we're going to see today. A very similar picture. Again, the orange suits, the Astrovan, very reminiscent of what we have done before and how we got to where we are now.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool ride. You get about 20 minutes to get out to the launch pad and watch a movie, listen to some music. It's kind of an interesting, and then along the whole way here at KSC, all of the employees from Kennedy Space Center come out. You can see in the background of the shot you're looking at right now, all of those employees and everybody lining the streets, waving and wishing them luck.
I think this is an emotional moment for a lot of people because this is the last time where a lot of people will be with the crew, because once they get to the pad, there's only a handful of folks with them before launch.
Yeah, definitely. This can be emotional for the crew, can be emotional for the families, of course. I mean, I got to wave goodbye one last time to my sister, and when we walked out those doors, and it's surreal. It starts to become much more real the closer and closer you get to the launch pad.
20 seconds now from when we expect the crew to walk out those doors. It must be really hard for them to patiently wait for these very specific milestones.
You've got a whole group back there that's telling jokes and keeping it light. So.
And here they are, NASA's Artemis II crew. Commander Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen taking their first steps outside for their historic test flight. To a wonderful applause from the crowd. They're looking really excited.
Some
and
big
really
smiles.
Ready.
I love that.
It's a great day for us. It's a great day for this team.
A few words from Reed Great day for us, the team, he said. Thumbs up, more thumbs up. Of course, a lot of pictures. We hear some camera shutter clicks back there. I love the energy of this crowd. Let's go. And so now the crew walking over to each of their pens. The first people closest to them, of course, their family members who got to quarantine with them, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So the ones that are close and waving, those are the immediate family. So spouses, partners, kids.
And we're trying to give them some privacy so that they can have their conversations with their family members. Christina there, she has her husband. Victor has 4 daughters and his wife, they're there. Reed, his 2 daughters are there. And then Jeremy, his wife, 2 daughters and a son. You know, when you were standing in their shoes, Nicole, when you flew for Crew 10, what were you kind of talking about? Like, did you really think about this moment and what you might want to say?
Oh, you know, they've all already done their real goodbyes, you know, in person. And so this is more just kind of, again, that last chance to wave, last chance to get one smile. You know, you see Christina there smiling. So this felt much less heavy and just, you know, waving and maybe cracking a joke or something, saying hi. So this was a really, really great moment for our crew.
Reed's 2 daughters there. Reed spoke about when he told them that he was selected to be the Artemis II commander. And he said he was worried. He's a single dad, didn't know how they would react. And actually, he said he was overwhelmed by their support. He woke up the next morning with cupcakes baked by one of the daughters, moon cupcakes.
Yes, I love this story. Moon cupcakes the next morning. Like, how awesome is that, right? Everybody needs their support system, and clearly he has that in his daughters.
Christina said she took a bike ride with her husband and wanted to tell him when the moon rose, but that it was too foggy. But she said he was still very excited and happy for her.
Yeah, the moon's still out there.
A close-up now of, again, Commander Reed Wiseman and Mission Specialist Christina Cook. To the right of your screen, as we pan left, we have pilot Victor Glover. Victor told his wife, and they told their 4 kids together, and he said that one of them just started yelling, "Let's go!"
Yes, I love that. Again, the support from the family is awesome.
And Jeremy said his wife and 3 children, super excited. He felt very supported. You know, he did have